Bill here with the Metals Minute. Today is Monday, October 3rd, 2022. Well, we have all the metals higher over the weekend. We've got gold up around 0.5%, palladium up over 2%, platinum up over 3.5%, and silver's up almost 7%, over 6.5% thus far this morning. So there's some major news that's happened over the weekend. Credit Suisse is a large investment bank in Europe. They have branches all over the world, including the United States. They are having some serious trouble. Their shares are down 10% just today, but they've been coming down. They've lost 75% before today. So over the last year and a half or so, their shares have just gradually come down, and then today they kind of had some revelations happen, and they're a significant player in world markets. A lot of paper selling going on. There's somewhat of a short squeeze in silver happening. So those of you that were able to add to your silver the last couple of weeks, we're seeing a nice pop today. We'll see how it ends the day, but so far we're doing pretty good. We have continuing energy concerns. We're starting to see reports bleeding through about the winter, not only in Europe, but here in the United States. Energy costs are expected to rise significantly, and we shared some anecdotal evidence of that a couple of weeks ago. Just things that we're hearing from people that we know in various parts of the country, and stories that are in local media. For some reason, they're not, some of these significant stories aren't making the national news, but they are making significant headlines in local regions where people are experiencing higher energy costs. We've got gasoline up over $7 again in some parts of California. So that's not a good sign. That kind of is getting us back to where we were a few months ago in terms of fuel prices for the average citizen. So it looks like inflation is going to be a continuing concern, and the official inflation numbers for September won't be out for another week and a half, but it looks like we're projecting a COLA somewhere around between 8.6 and 8.8% is our best guess of where that will come in. So for next year, so that's a significant number. I think the highest since 1981 or so. But we'll keep an eye on that, and in a week and a half we'll know for sure what that number is. But that's a high number, and as we know, the inflation that's reported and acknowledged as an official inflation number typically is roughly half of what the average inflation rate being felt by the American consumer. So those are by a couple of different measurements. The Shadow Stats Index, which measures inflation like they measured it back in 1980, shows a significantly higher number, 17, 18%. And another index called the Chapwood Index. It analyzes the prices in several major metropolitan areas across the United States, and each region has a different number, but they come in the teens using that methodology. They look at the 500 most purchased items that people purchase most often or use most often, and the cost increases of those items, and that's showing a higher number than what we see acknowledged for official inflation. So it's getting tight out there. People are hurting, and one way to protect ourselves historically against an ongoing inflation is by owning precious metals over time. And it doesn't mean overnight, but over time that can help protect our purchasing power. Now, it just so happens that over the weekend there's been a significant rise in all the metals. especially silver. But that will continue to develop. We'll see how that goes. I believe we still have a fair amount of upside between now and the end of the year. So stay tuned. We'll keep you informed. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.